Hello, today is Earth Day, so I wanted to pose the question, is there actually a trade-off between the environment, protecting the earth, and corporate profits? Now, before I get there, I want to point out that I do have some other videos on sustainable investing. I talk about different types of sustainable investments. I also talk about the Department of Labor's view on sustainable investing in ERISA type plans. If you're to go online and look at, what are the best practices of, sustainable type companies, you're going to see things like reducing travel, offsetting emissions, and recycling. Now, these things seem a little bit trivial, but they do add up in all fairness. Now, on the other hand, Milton Friedman said that the only social responsibility of companies is to increase profits. Now, it's all about the bottom line in this view. There are ways to do that. You do need to have employee involvement. You need to be intentional about it. I can think about certain things that I witnessed at my previous company, like people leaving their lights on when they went home at night, like people leaving the water running the entire time they brushed their teeth, all the paper that was wasted there. Those things do add up. You can also do things like just being more efficient, in terms of your light bulb uses and things like this. But ultimately, this is really kind of just saving money. These things do add up, but it is really kind of a money thing here. Now, President Biden today is set to announce a plan where we will reduce our emissions by 50 to 52% compared to our 2005 emissions. This plan is nearly double that of the 2015 plan. Put in place by Obama. Now, you would think that these things are going to actually end up costing money and that corporate America wouldn't like it, but it turns out that's not the case. They've actually been pushing for this for a while, so they should be happy about it. Now, what's driving this? Well, I've put this up here before. You'll see it in one of the videos I mentioned, but it turns out that customers want this, right? They are willing to spend the money at companies that are sustainable, right? All things equal, they want this. This increases the market share, ultimately helps the bottom line, helps profits for these companies. That's likely driving it. In fact, there are companies out there that are, specifically saying this is what we're going to do. This is my value add. It increases the demand for those products. It helps them improve their market share, as I mentioned before. Also, a lot of these projects have better margins, so it ends up being better for the companies there too. Now, ultimately, I think we need to think more about the costs of other types of non-sustainable things. If you think about pollution and these things, ultimately, who bears the cost there? Well, clearly society does in terms of kind of the health consequences of these, but also oftentimes we see that it's society, it's governments that end up doing the cleanup. So even in cases where companies end up paying big fines, it ends up being cheaper for them to kind of do the wrong thing. I think ultimately what we're going to see is a system in place where corporations are more responsible for the messes they make, that they need to clean them up and they need to bear the cost of that. Ultimately, we're going to see that it's no matter what, it is more expensive for corporations to do the wrong thing. I think ultimately we're going to get there. I do think it's going to take a long time. There'll be some more pushback than we've seen in terms of just what Biden is proposing. Anyway, that's all for today. Happy Earth Day. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm Brian Kozlowski.